And we are back with the next Z2R Max Rando tournament match. We have AnimusUnited versus drjayphd. And I will give it back to Mariah and Ellen. Take it away, you two.
Hello, everyone. It's as if we never left, and in fact, we didn't. We're back with our second race on our doubleheader here. Again, Animus and Dr. J, PhD. And, I imagine you're still doing well, Ellendar, but how are you doing 10 minutes later?
Oh, even better than I was before. I had a nice little snack, get some refill on my water. We're good to go for what should be another good race here between Animus and Dr. J.
Yeah, I don't know who to give this one to. Dr. J was talking in the last, I did the last commentary for his race as well. He was talking about how he's trying to play a little bit more aggressive. We did see that in his previous race. We'll see if it continues down that play style, down that route, if he's gotten even a little bit more aggressive. I think he's going to need it if he's up against Animus. It does depend how the seed's going to play out, though, because Rando going to Rando, and we'll just have to see what we've got available to our runners from the start. And content-wise, layout-wise, pals-wise, it'll be in a few seconds.
Yeah, my bet's going to be on Animus, if only because I know he's a runner of various Sonic games, and therefore very experienced at going fast here as we start off in a canyon on the west.
That is absolutely solid reasoning for choosing Animus here. He is a Sonic Spinball player as well. That's, the redheaded stepchild of Sonic games. But, that's... Well, maybe not anymore. There's a lot of Sonic games that are probably a little less exciting than the original old school ones, but still, it was a little weird at its time. But, whatever.
Yep. Oh, and we were just having a quick chat before this about where's this glove going to be? How fast is this concede going to be with it being a one gemmer? Well, there it is.
Amazing, absolutely amazing. This seed could have been a glove dig, which could have been a nightmare. They only have one gem to place, so it's simply just find the palace and then find GP and go. So this could have been something where they're digging through a bunch of long shopping list of items for where they need to go and find the glove. But lo and behold, it's right here, and Dr. J is about to find his.
Sadly, Animus's reward from Hard Container Cave here just going to be a completely useless jar. But yeah, with only one gem required and them starting with most of the potentially required for progression items, it's pretty much going to be a question of how fast can they find GP, how fast can they clear out any palace. Obviously, they still need access to Fairy or the Any Key to do that. And then how bad is GP going to be? Because they're going to be hitting it on fairly low levels.
Yeah, they're lacking a little bit of magic as well, potentially. Whether Thunder is required, whether we're going to have a Fairy block in GP as well. We might need to find Fairy. So still some potential things we might need to find, but those are going to be probably a lot easier to find, especially with spell hints enabled. If one of our spells that are required in GP happens to be in one of those particular towns that has a spell item required, they'll just be able to talk to the NPC and get a pinpoint location on where to find that spell item. Hopefully the hints don't bug out in that one if they do need those.
Yeah, I know Dr. J is a fan of doing these early palace digs, and he's here in this 3 or 6, at the very least getting some good experience. We'll see if this pays off from, with only needing one gem, if you luck out and you get a fairly easy palace, then it can, put you ahead early. But
yeah, that's a gamble, all right.
Yeah, well, it's 150 points from those Stalfos, so pretty good XP reward. Animus just doing more standard routing, finding everything in the west that he can. He did find an entrance to a canyon Death Mountain, but with only one gem required, I think our runners are going to avoid that if at all possible.
Also seeing Thunder in Mito there, so speaking of spell item blocks, that's one of those potentials. They're not checking for the spell hint at this time, though. Going to be checking for Jump's hint, perhaps?
Dr. J gives up on his quick little dive into that 3 or 6 and gonna get himself. I don't actually remember. Did Animus find this P-Bag cave?
That's a phenomenal question, Elendar. I'm not entirely sure.
Oh, and spell hint's not on.
Oh,
Still,
no.
We I know you were talking about it earlier. We not entirely sure whether that's intended with some of these flag sets or it's just a bug, but it is the case that sometimes in this Math Rando flag set we can not have access to the spell hints, and it looked like that was the case here.
Yeah, my vote is with the bug because they should be turned on in these Swiss flag sets. They should always be present. So if we don't see them, something we have yet to discover. We've been trying to figure out why it is that sometimes certain flag sets or certain item locations or certain spell blocks or whatever the combination of variables is that leads to the hints being broken. And the NPCs should be giving our runners hints for where that spell item is. And instead, they just give you the vanilla response, and it really means nothing when you hear something, whatever that was, the Guria of Tantalari or something like that, stole the trophy. It's like, thanks, but that's not relevant in this seed, unfortunately. So if he wants the trophy, that's going to be a potentially annoying dig.
Yeah, and with how quick this seed is, I wouldn't be surprised if either of our runners get to GP and just say, you know what, forget it. I'm not gonna go digging around, potentially huge swaths of the seed unless I absolutely know that trophy is going to be required for this Thunder spell.
Yeah, and I was going to say there before Dr. J checked the NPC that only certain hints end up being bugged, not all of them. So for the medicine there, we do get the hint that it is in the east. So at least we get that in case we need it. It just seems to be that if you want jump, it's kind of going to be, you're rolling the dice on where that might be. At first, we thought it was more like hammer-blocked cave or boulder-blocked caves on the west. When you don't have the hammer, it sort of bugs out, but that wasn't the case. I did find other seeds where hints were bugged and that the items required were not in a boulder-blocked cave, so that went out the door really quick. And so still unknown on why that happens, but it does happen, unknowingly so.
Might be a thing that's worth looking into. Maybe you can try and do a coding stream this weekend and see if I can track it down.
I'm all for that.
My knowledge of the Rando's code is limited, but I do have at least a decent amount of experience rooting around in it, trying to figure out how it works. But
Medicine Cave giving us nothing but I guess early on a 300-point P-Bag, not too bad, giving him attack 4. It was a little bit of a dig to get in there with some Dyras in the way, but any items.
He did get 150 from one Dyra and a 200 bag from the other, so...
Oh, that's very nice. That is
pretty
nice.
If all that you got out of that cave was attack 4 before you, potentially head into this palace like Animus is looking at, no, he's just trying to see if he can get a quick couple 100 points.
Yeah, you said we saw an east, and I'm interested to see how long it's going to take before we head over there, since it doesn't look like our spells.
I didn't catch the east, but I did see a Death Mountain.
Oh, a Death Mountain. That's what it was. Okay.
And there was a cave that led to Death Mountain. It was a canyon Death Mountain. But we can see right next to Animus here is the bridge, which means that Death Mountain is either the dead end or they're going to need the raft to get out. But I think either of runners would gladly check this bridge first. Absolutely no love for Life 3 from Animus. Gonna pick up Magic 3.
Item room here for Dr. J here, the very fancy and enclosed item room that annoys you at times as you see it from the top and you pass by the item that you may want, and then you have to find an elevator somewhere that leads you into this room. Unfortunately, Dr. J not having a key whatsoever, so not gonna be able to grab that item here in P3.
Yeah, and unfortunately not even gonna be able to check and see what it is. But he's gonna find the boss. And with downstab, he should be able to hopefully make quick work.
Animus is going to be picking up the fairy spell here in Saria. That was the last check, I guess, before heading off of the west.
It looks like didn't quite get the lineup right. We'll see if Dr. J can reset this or just do some pretty good down stab with strats. Looks like attack 4 is doing work.
Oh, yeah. Gives a little wave to Rebanek, a wave goodbye. That's going to be not his first gem, because he still has no key, unfortunately. First boss, but not first gem, so still one gem in reserve there to spend.
And unfortunately for him, just a red jar from the boss and not a key. Could have been a pretty quick way out. But Animus finding Maze Island, but continuing just to check around. He wants to fully check this west before he moves on.
Lucky for Dr. J, though, he did find a key in one of the elevator rooms here that has a small item. It did have a key this time, so he's going to take that key back to the boss room and probably place his first gem. And I assume be on the hunt for GP after that. I don't think it's on the west here. I think we've seen all 3 palaces at this point. And if we haven't, we're about to see the 3rd one.
Yeah, and with his levels how they are, it should be pretty easy for him to pick up enough XP along the way that he can pick up attack 5 from this as well.
Yeah. 533, still pretty dangerous though going into GP. GP is the place where attack levels don't really help you as much as something like life levels and magic levels. They come in much more handy when it comes to Great Palace.
Yeah, and hopefully he'll just be able to pick up some additional XP along the way, pad those levels out of it, maybe head to GP closer to like a 555.
Animus finding Horsehead's room there, decides, no, we're not going to do it. Also seeing a key, if he wants it, in the bricks there on the right side of this room. This room always has 2 small items. It is incorrectly labeled. If you've seen my Palace Room document, it does say that both the items are the same. And in fact, they don't have to be the same as we're seeing here. We've got a key on one side, P bag on the other. So not sure if he's going to grab that key or not. I might, with the lack of fairy cast he currently has.
Yeah, and he does in fact pick it up. Let's see if he can get out of this easily. Good setup. And he's not even going to go right. He's just going to head back down. Is he going to change his mind about the boss? Looks like it.
2150 there for attack 5. We'll see if he takes attack 5 versus actually spreading out the experience.
I think it's pretty likely, knowing Animus, he's just going to take attack 5 and then try to get what experience he can for some magic or life levels later. Because it's not that much extra. Even if he does take the extra levels, it's probably only like 2 or 3. Yeah, and he does go with attack 5. But he's going to turn around. He's going to look and see if he can find the item in here.
Yeah, I guess it comes down to, what do you fear more? Do you fear having to take hits from beams or bodying the birds if they're in there? Or do you fear having to do a low attack Thunderbird? I know that Animus has been burned a few times by Thunderbird fights here in the recent races that he's had leading up to this round. So maybe that's something that's sitting in the back of his mind. He's thinking an attack 5 Thunderbird is a whole hell of a lot easier than an attack 4, especially if attack 4 is rolling down in terms of effectiveness. So that could be something he's thinking about.
We get a lovely sighting from the one-way key door here.
Yeah, what a great door. Coming in from the right there just forces you through, because the game forces you to move in the direction as you walk into the room. If you're not familiar with the game, when you walk in, you get pushed into the room with some force. There's always some momentum to start with, and it pushes you through that door. It's so close to the edge that it's just kind of a freebie if you don't have a key. Always very interesting.
Yeah, it's sad when you have exactly one key. And,
yes.
And you walk into there, you can't even choose not to use it. And you're like, cool, this is worse than if this room were empty.
Attack 5 looking pretty good, though. One shot in those little Goombas.
Yeah, unfortunately, just a dead end. Animus quickly recognizing it's not the right version of that room to pass through and up-aing.
P1 being a little rowdy here.
Yeah, he really wants this item, and I can see where he's coming from. He's thinking, I still don't necessarily have spell items. Still a lot of unknowns as far as progressing in this seed, but it's a little unusual, I think, to be like, now, given again that there's really only one I guess maybe 2 items. Thunder is behind a spell that he can need at this point, right? He started with almost all of the progression items.
Yeah. And Fairy was free and Saria there. So and I do wonder. Animus is also familiar with the hints being bugged at times and being annoyed by that. We've all been caught off guard by that. So I wonder if he remembers that it could only be select hints that end up bugged versus all the hints. I wonder if he thinks all the hints are bugged and he's still not going to check the medicine lady to see if she wants to give him the location, which we know she does from Dr. J's side. Making it through that room, though, the room he was in previous there has he had unlucky ended up with the 2 generator heads in there, the square waves and the bago bagos, and that can be a very annoying room. And he did make it through there very nicely.
Yeah, it's just all around difficult when you get bad spawners in there, and Fairy, sadly, is of help only in that if you fall, it will let you reset the room, but no easy ways out. Animus, I don't think you can do that if you break that 3rd block. Yep, he's just going to cast Fairy.
Yeah, got to be 3 high on that block there. Same thing with the GP upstab rooms. You got to have 3 blocks available for you to make that jump.
This is going to be the item room. Ooh. Takes a stab in the knees first, though. I think he needed the magic here anyway, so... Going to be able to pick up a life level, too.
We still don't know what palace lies on GP, and I wonder if that's... I mean, on Maze Island, and I wonder if that's GP. Sorry, that's where my train of thought was headed.
Yeah, Animus saw it, but didn't check it at all. Just sort of popped his head in and said, "No, I don't think so." But here he goes. He's gonna check it. He's still looking for items. Right, he's got the child at this point. He knows he doesn't need the trophy.
Yeah, I wonder if he just wants an extra magic container, maybe hoping for one of those, maybe hoping that the medicine is here. He doesn't know that the woman does give a hint for the east, so I don't know what he might find. I mean, there could be a handful of things he finds there, anything from it could be trophy, like maybe he finds the trophy here again, not having the hint for that. Who knows if we'll stumble upon that here.
Yep, at the very least, he's going to be able to make it. Oh, not quite going to be able to make it through and check the palace without getting into any encounters, but a quick fairy feat, and he's going to see Palace 5. Oof.
Yeah, Fairy at, I forget what magic level he's at. I think it's magic 3, 54 to cast Fairy for Animus.
And he's done with Maze Island. Which at this point means that he's gonna have to either start digging into palaces or check out that Death Mountain. I think with Death Mountain being, I'm fairly certain that it was a canyon Death Mountain, and with the boots and the hammer already, the first check is usually pretty free.
Yeah, looking for that spell. You can just see the rock usually from just kind of walking around on the water, poking to the left, poking to the right, seeing if you can just find that rock, and that's an absolute free grab on whatever it has.
And it was also finding the raft tile, kind of weirdly offset, but that means that at this point that raft tile has to lead to the... Have we seen the second cave? I don't think we've seen the second cave. We've seen the bridge over to Maze Island. We've seen a cave over to Death Mountain. So the raft may or may not be required.
Yeah, still a toss-up at this point, although I do like the raft play. Although it could lead to death, it could lead to the other side of Death Mountain, and then it could be a cave buried in Death Mountain somewhere, our final connector cave that leads us to the east. So that could be a bit of a dig for these runners.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. I think Animus is just, well, Death Mountain holds the magical key. That's another potential reason to go there. Like I said, that first check when you have hammer and boots in a canyon Death Mountain is basically free. Sometimes the spectacle rock can spawn in a really stupid, out of the way part of the side, but usually it's accessible through the river without having to go into any caves.
Yeah, Dr. J had also seen that raft tile as well there in the north of the west, and so he knows that the raft is potentially in play as well. We'll see. I think he's going to find our second item here for us in Maze Island, so we'll see what that is, where Animus decided to dip out. So if it ends up being the raft, that could be the play. Or we saw the item in 1, we saw the item room in 3, but I don't think we saw the item. I don't know. I meant to come back to this. I don't know what Dr. J did with that key. Did he?
He did clear the palace.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
So Animus making his way, and as expected, Spectacle Rock just chilling out right next to the river. And then he's going to be the trophy.
That's his jump spell if he wants it. And I think he wants it, especially since he looked at that hint.
Yeah, looks like he's going back for it. Not too far of a walk.
Yeah, I don't know if it's worth double dipping into Death Mountain. Like, I don't know what the faster routing is. Just find Hammer Cave, get into Hammer Cave, get that magical key if you wanted that, and then just up and A from there, come back to the west and hit up Rando.
Dr. J finding the second item in Maze Island, just a magic container. Not a bad pickup, but...
Yeah, so this means that I guess what's on the table here for getting to the east, it's going to be either the raft in our 2 palaces remaining on the west, or it is that cave in Death Mountain somewhere, or both, perhaps. But if there's a cave that leads to the east in Death Mountain, then that means the raft could also be in the east as well, which would not make it as useful.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty likely that both our runners are gonna check Death Mountain before, digging out palaces that you don't need the boss for. Animus is gonna go back and double back to this Maze Island, thinking, okay, where's this raft?
Yeah, speaking of digging in the palaces you don't need the boss from, here is Dr. J in P5.
Yeah, I mean, he wants to take a quick look. He's gonna get rewarded at the very least with a key for his troubles.
Yeah, thankfully he did pick up Fairy in Saria, but I don't know how much it costs at Magic 4.
It may just be that he's very close to picking up a level here. He may just be trying to get some XP and dip back out of here. Does pick up Magic 5, but he's going to continue. Of course, Salt in the Wound, you pick up a magic level, immediate red jar.
And Fairy at Magic 5 is still 54 magic, so still pretty pricey.
I'm trying to do a little bit of mental math. That does give them 2 casts, I think, still?
No, it's going to be 96 magic at 6 containers.
That's right. It's 96. Yeah. Math is hard.
Yes. After 10 p.m., math becomes difficult. Unless, of course, you're not in the Eastern time zone, then you have no excuse.
Oh, it could be worse. Can you imagine our European friends right now trying to do math?
Yeah, they've busted out the calculator at this point.
Right. Animus up-aing out of Maze Island. We'll see if he. This is gonna be the big decision point, right? Do you check palaces or do you go into Death Mountain? Oh, it looks like he just didn't find the second item. He just took an up-A to reset his resources, and he's gonna find it right now.
Yeah, I don't know what I'd do in this position. I don't know if I take the gamble and say, yeah, Death Mountain's the answer. In order to confirm that the raft tile definitely leads somewhere, I would probably be looking at Death Mountain, though, because you would just check the top and the bottom of that area, and you would see the raft tile, and you would know if it was there, then the raft is useless, and you need to be looking for a cave. Try to confirm your last 2 connectors on where they go. If you don't see the raft tile in Death Mountain, then it it doesn't go to Maze Island, so it has to go to the east. We're looking for the raft, potentially, again, with that cave still on the table, though, so I might still be looking around in Death Mountain for some caves that look kind of out of place.
Yeah, and the second reason to like Death Mountain is even if you decide that you start looking for that cave, you can always find Hammer Cave, and that could be where our raft is. It could be a 2-for-1 here.
Yeah, especially if it is going to be digging in the palaces for items. Limited keys. There's some kind of scattered around, but they're pretty limited. Haven't seen any in the drop pools yet. And, oh well.
Yep. And that's part of the joy of Canyon Death Mountain, right? Is you could look at so many caves so quickly by following the river, and Animus knows that every cave is gonna come out in the direction that you entered into it from. And so he immediately saw that downward facing cave all in the north and said, well, either this is a really weird cave that's going way across Death Mountain, or this is going to be something important. And it was the way to the east, but mountains.
I believe both of our runners have fire, and Dr. J confirming for us that fire is indeed fairy in this seed here. So much for an expensive fairy blocking us from anything.
Yeah, I don't think we've seen any fire fairy casts from Animus yet, but that is a very nice safety to have, especially when you get into GP. Having an 8 or 10 cost fairy spell can let you just bypass a significant amount of the combat.
Yeah, and it's even more desirable, especially since they're well. Dr. J's got some pretty good levels here, 4, 5, 5, not pushover levels for going into GP. But if you were to go into GP with some lower levels, having a lot of fairy casts is indeed desirable to, as you say, just kind of skip and the word I'm looking for here, just trivialize the content in the enemy sets in the rooms.
Oh, Dr. J with a very nice catch. Gets a little overzealous on the jackhammer, taking out that Iron Knuckle, but does recover with a swift cast of Fire Fairy to make his way out of the hole.
Clutch.
Animus setting up for an encounter skip on a tile that turns out not to have had an encounter on it.
Yeah, very sneaky. You always think that one tile pathway of desert is going to be the double Darunian counter. Got an up arrow there. I don't know if anyone caught that. It was in the desert, and that's the way that it was just formed with the mountains. It was a perfectly symmetrical up arrow.
We did see from Animus' side earlier the River Devil, but he once again has managed to put himself in an absolutely useless place. It's a trivial bypass using the water. This mountainous biome is the place that he is often the most useful in. Oh, Dr. J gonna get a double Hammer Brother set up. And here's our raft!
Wow. So, if this leads to the east, and we assume it does, although we don't think we saw all the sides of the north and the south of Death Mountain at this point, could just lead to Death Mountain. That would be unfortunate if that were the case, but if this leads to the east, then Dr. J is definitely not out of this one.
It's possible Animus has been digging around trying to find his way in this east. It's possible this is a segmented east.
Yes, very true.
If this is segmented and Dr. J found the raft, he is going to be way ahead.
Oh god, these mountainous biomes do have a tendency to do that.
Gonna find out real quick. This looks like the east.
And Dr. J, if he wants thunder, or if he dips into GP and finds a Thunderbird block, he knows that the medicine is in the east here somewhere. But that means one of 6 locations, including a new Kasuto block, 2 potential blocks.
Yep. Dr. J has found the Darunia double pass through, and he's making his way through on foot. Not comfortable enough with fairy feet. I don't blame him.
If anything, though, it's probably worth burning a fire fairy at this point and just kind of shooting over it.
Yep, he's trying to fight this Lizalfos. He wants more levels.
I think Animus just confirmed with us that the Death Valley volcano is indeed where GP lies.
Okay, so Animus does have access to GP. Interesting that he wouldn't even take a dip into it.
No, it's just that he's seen both the other palaces.
Oh,
I don't think he's seen
just
Death
process
Valley
of
yet.
elimination hasn't actually found the way in. Interesting. I didn't catch quite where it was. Oh, these swamps causing absolute havoc on Animus's compression. Go west to find the red jar. Thanks. And 6 magic containers going to be good enough for the first item here in New Kasuto.
Says no to the P bag, even though he's almost halfway to that 8-10 level. Might have been worth picking up.
Yeah, maybe I haven't been paying too close attention to P-Bags. Maybe he already knows that all of the available types are low rolls, but... Okay, so Dr. J also finding his way to New Casino. It looks like the... 300. It looks like the raft, not required, just sort of an alternate way to get over here to the east.
Yeah, it'll be like he's a little bit closer to. I think Animus has exhausted a lot of the east already. Again, I don't know if he has seen the Death Valley volcano, the Death Valley entrance to it. If he hasn't, then it is somewhere over in this location. And if Dr. J is nearby, if he skips going back for Thunder, because he's about to find his medicine, as Animus just showed us, if he skips going back for Thunder and just goes into GP, it could be the play, especially if Animus is going back now.
Yeah, Animus taking it up A, and he's going to head back here. He's going to grab his Thunder Spell. But, yeah, if neither runners have actually found the entrance yet, we know that the raft section and the cave section are connected to each other. And since that's all of our connectors, we know it can't be a segment to the east, but the fact that we know that there is a way from where they're at to GP doesn't fix the fact that they have to find it.
Yeah, and I guess if Dr. J does go back to turn in the medicine, he does have the raft, which could potentially get him a little bit closer to the Death Valley entrance. Again, not knowing where it's at, I just have no idea how to really gauge this at the moment.
Yeah, it's hard to tell. You sort of pop in. We know they both spawned. They both came in on the western end of the east. Didn't loop them around the other side. But it's difficult sometimes with a mountainous biome to sort of make sense of the geography.
There it is on Dr. J's side. If he just heads north, he can get into GP.
Yeah, it looks like he wants to continue searching outside of these caves, maybe find some more safeties, get some more experience.
Dr. J, you got to play it aggressive, man. You got to get in. You got to get in GP on them one gemmers. See what it's all about.
At this point, if he's gonna go get Thunder, you go get Thunder. Maybe this is just a good opportunity. This is gonna be a one-way cave. He's just gonna get the item and up out of it, but. We're gonna see in just a bit, just a one-up.
Yeah, he's also not utilizing that Fire Fairy cast to just kind of avoid any nonsense enemies along the way, like the scorpion that almost killed him here in this dark cave.
Get a sighting of the life spell. That looks like 4 bars.
Yeah, that looked pretty healthy.
And not an expensive cast either. But no, he's gonna keep looking.
I think that's where he came down from, so I hope he turns around.
Blue is almost 500 points. If he wants to farm this encounter with the blues and the oranges both being very rewarding, this might be a good place if he wants to pick up some XP, but thinking about it, he's going to keep exploring. I don't know, has Dr. J... I know we know from Animus's perspective that he's seen both of the other palaces here on the east, but has Dr. J found both of them yet?
He has not. Dr. J's done very little exploration here on the east.
So he maybe just be thinking, I doesn't want to go into that Valley of Death unless he knows that, by exhaustion it's the last one. But, as I say that, he's going in.
I like this play. Stick with it, Dr. J. Do it. Fire Fairy or encounter skip, whatever you need to do. Get into that GP. I want to see a close race. Animus has seen the Death Valley entrance, although he was on the north side of it. And he knows he's got to wrap all the way down to the south. He's almost there. He's just got to move north from where he's at. Encounter after encounter after encounter. The east does have a higher encounter rate, so it does get a little annoying if you're just trying to go places and you find yourself on the tiles that get you the closer spawns, like the graveyards and the lava tiles, and I think that's it. Oh, and the forest tiles.
Dr. J is going to be, it looks like about 30-ish seconds ahead coming into GP. And, it's going to come down to, obviously combat and routing, the biggest part of GP, but also is Thunderbird required?
Yeah, because Animus went back for Thunder.
Dr. J just about 33:25. We'll see what Animus' time is coming in. Looks like Animus also. I'm not sure. Oh, Animus is out of magic. Okay, he's going to pick up that jar to facilitate doing some fairy feet. Yeah, it doesn't. I don't know if he. Yeah, he's just casting regular fairy. I don't think he checked the fire spell. He's going to have to take another encounter skip because he doesn't know.
Yeah, that's interesting. With all of this going on, it's a very fast-paced seed from the runner's perspective, without a doubt. And yeah, so things can get overlooked. There's been plenty of seeds where I played where it's been like a fire thunder, and everyone's like, "Did you check fire?" I'm like, "No." Was it something good? Like, yeah, it was fire thunder. I was like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah,
my bad.
Yeah, or the worst thing that can happen: fire is reflect, and you go on a spell item hunt for it.
Yeah, no kidding.
I've definitely lost races to that before. It's like, oh, yeah. So yeah, Animus about a full minute behind coming in here, 34:40.
Dr. J had also seen the S or the two shaped hard upstab block. He saw it from the top side though, so it wasn't a block. And I don't think we do have upstab, don't we? I think we started with upstab.
Yeah, I think we started with up and down.
Okay, so never mind. What would have been a potential block somewhere along the way with that room in the pool, not as important anymore.
Nope. Dr. J, he's got plenty of bars of health, good life spell, but GP can definitely wear you down from attrition.
Yeah, we're seeing similar routing on both sides as well, so if this is the route to Darkling, Dr. J is going to find it first. Animus, I know he likes his lefts, did not take that initial left right off the bat. He will be presented with a second left there, though, in that Jackamus room that Dr. J just came out of going right.
Dr. J, Animus is man. Look at it take a left here. At literal 0 health, Animus still doesn't want to cast life.
Yeah, that's interesting. He didn't.
He didn't pick it up. He doesn't have life. Wow. That's gonna be another big deal here, because we know life is fairly cheap and fairly effective. It's gonna be a big advantage for Dr. J in this combat.
Yeah, I'm with Animus though. I probably wouldn't have picked up life either, so I don't blame him.
Yeah, I usually like to pick up one of either shield or life, whichever one I pick up first. That's good enough for me, and I don't blame Animus for this setup either. But
especially with this many heart containers.
Yeah. I mean, he is only on life 4.
Yeah, Dr. J on 6. That's true. That could be the difference there.
Yeah, he did get attack 5, but all that extra palace clearing Dr. J did, giving him a pretty substantial experience advantage.
Animus did head left in the Jackamus room, so we will see the diverging paths here and where they go. Dr. J fighting this red bird, trying to get out of that little hole, and does make it out.
Yep, successfully pushing him back, saying, "Not today."
Elevator room here in a paperclip for Animus. This could simply be the end of the road here. That's what I always think when I hit these elevators, that it's going to be the answer. But unfortunately, Firebird on one side, Red Folk on the other, and to an emoji. Oh, this could be bad. A very busy room.
Is this the same room?
This would be hilarious.
Are they high-fiving here? No. Not quite. I don't think, maybe?
No. Whoa.
Yeah, this is the paperclip.
Is it just because Animus has a Firebird in the middle, whereas
I think one of them just didn't. One of them just didn't spawn because of the sprite limit. I think that was just a high five. And that tells us that this route is not the correct route for either runner.
It's an immediate left at start. Wow. Dr. J sees it first. Is he going to up and start over? Is he going to walk back? That's a long walk.
think he's just gonna press on.
Oh, wait, where did Animus go? How is he in this room? This is new. There must have been a branch somewhere, and that's where Dr. J's headed back to. Animus doesn't like it, though. Okay, so, belay my last. It is not confirmed just yet. A hard left at start.
This is wild. It's difficult on the best of days to try and keep track of GP, but having our runners both sort of coming at it from opposite angles, Animus taking it up at A. He's going to check that left at the start.
So I don't know how to describe that room. It's a T-junction. It's got two upstab, downstab blocks there on the left and the right. Did we see the elevator and where that went in the middle? Did I completely miss how that loops around to somewhere we had already seen?
I don't know.
That's the first time I'd seen that room. I wasn't sure if maybe we missed it somewhere, but I guess Animus is going to show us his hard left at the beginning.
Yeah, I mean, presumably Animus doesn't believe in it, but...
Well,
here it is! The hard left at the start.
Wow.
What a wild GP.
Yeah, wild and both wild and simple.
Thunder not required. None of the factors that we thought might have an issue ended up being it. It came down just to routing luck.
Yeah, the left at start strikes again. So that's it's always something you keep in the back of your mind on, is this the right direction to go? Should I just go this way? And this time the answer was yes.
And Dr. J taking a hit, probably resetting out of a game over, and I wouldn't be surprised if he takes this left at the start right now and it's just kicking himself. Yep, he was so close, and Animus giving up on the loop and heading left first is gonna take the win because of it.
Also, welcome in the Raiders from ZSR2 channel. Unfortunately, seeing the very end of this spoiled completely. If you were waiting to see the complete play out here to see who wins, as we see a very close dark link to the start of the palace. Unfortunately, Dr. J on the right, finding that after Animus did up an A and head back first to check the left. Animus joining us now. Hello, sir. How are you doing after the seat here?
Yeah, that tricked me up a little bit more than it probably should have. I got confused on quite a few different parts, as you probably saw. So, for one gym seed, that sure did cause some trouble.
It could have been a lot worse. It could have been, a glove dig, a glove hunt. It could have been, looking for. In this case, the hints were bugged in Rudo, but they weren't bugged in Mido. We did see on Dr. J's side that the woman wanting the medicine did give us the hint that it was in the east. You did find that yourself, though, in the spell tower, and that could have been a dig for that if Thunderbird were to be required. So it could have gone south in a few different ways, but at the end of the day, it ended up being probably a pretty jetty seed if it was routed, very tightly from start to finish.
Yeah, certainly it was. I got caught into the what ifs, if you will. First of all, just thinking I might need the raft, so I went digging for the raft everywhere. Then it just turned it out that obviously there's just a connector and death mount. And then obviously going back after navigating the east for Thunder after I found medicine, I was kind of like, well, it's in Valley of Death. I'd rather go and get Thunder and not have to come back in if I really needed it.
Dr. J joining us as well. Hello. We were just discussing some routing. Both of you did some different routing there. How do you feel you did on this seed, other than the loss there, but for the early game routing, how do you feel about that?
I didn't catch if that was for me.
Yes. How do you feel about your early game routing here?
I mean, I thought I did okay early game, just trying to knock out as many possible item caves as I could, and I was able to clear out a bunch of stuff, and just then figured out, okay, gonna need to go east at some point, and it was really just all about finding that raft. But playing as aggressively as I have the last couple of weeks has certainly helped, even if the results aren't showing the standings.
Yeah, we brought that up at the beginning. You had mentioned that in the previous post-race interview. I was there as well, and when I heard it, and so I brought it up here in the beginning of this race that you've been talking about how you've been trying to play a bit more aggressively. We did see that here. We definitely saw that here. It's funny that you say you looked for the raft because you did find the raft in P5, and it did lead you to the east. The other connector, though, there was a cave connector buried in Death Mountain that also led to the east, which is what Animus found. He never found the raft. So you were both hitting the east from different sides, and that gave for some interesting routing for figuring out how the east was laid out.
Oh, wow, yeah. Definitely, I mean, I'm just glad I didn't have to try to dig Death Mountain, even if he won with it.
Yeah, congratulations. That was a really tough one. Yeah, digging P5 doesn't sound much funner, honestly. So kudos to you for finding the raft in P5.
Yeah, P5 wasn't terrible, but it was just a little bit deep in there.
Yeah, that makes sense.
From our perspective, though, that raft tile was a lot closer to the entrance of Death Valley. And Animus, when you hit the cave, you were able to explore every inch of the east from your side, and you even saw the Death Valley entrance. Once you had seen the other two palaces there in the east, you knew it was Death Valley, and you were looking around, and then you up and you went back to turn in the medicine to get Thunder. Dr. J did not do that, even though he did pick up the medicine there in the spell tower as well. But when you came back, Animus, when you came back to the east, you were there just north where the River Devil was, just north of where the Death Valley entrance was. And you were like, I got to go south at this point. I got to get to the south side. And that's when we saw Dr. J skipping Thunder and heading into the Death Valley volcano. And this was, again, perhaps where the aggressive play was coming in. Dr. J, you walked into GP about a minute, 60 to 90 seconds ahead of Animus there. And you began routing it earlier on. And that the skipping Thunder there was a gamble, but that's what allowed you to the raft leading to the east where it did, closer to Death Valley, and you just digging into Death Valley, seeing it as your first opportunity to check a palace. That was the answer, and that's what got you into GP earlier. So it was, from our perspective, it was a pretty interesting race.
Yeah, especially finding out that enemy encounters in the lava were not going to be caves. Just like, all right, might as well give it a shot while I'm here. And yeah, had I just gone left instead of right when I went into GP, I would have been different.
Yeah, definitely. I went around to the right at first too, so don't worry. I didn't go left immediately or anything like that.
It was actually really funny to watch. You two both went right initially, took different paths into the loop, and at one point high-fived in the middle as you were both exploring through that loop.
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
Yeah, that was one that just gave you just enough hope that you were going to find it, too.
Yeah, and it was a really close race the whole time, and in the end it just came down to Animus was the first one to say, you know what, I'm going to check that left at the start, and just a couple rooms later, that was it.
Yeah, it was kind of bothering me because I was just not getting anywhere to the right. Being on my last life, I was just kind of like, I guess I'll just up A and see what the left has.
Yeah, I just got stuck in a room full of red fockers, I think it was, and just like, no, let's try something different.
Yeah, when it came down to Toolkit and Spellbook here, it was you were both had similar levels. Dr. J, you had a few more levels. I think you had one additional magic and life level, if I'm not mistaken. Animus, you were at least, actually, Animus, I think you were on life 4, and actually Dr. J was on at life 6. And he did have the life spell as well, which was very generous this time around. And on top of that, he did discover that fire was fairy. And so that really made to a cheap fairy, which wasn't utilized too often, but was there when you needed it.
Like when you get knocked back into a pit over
Yes.
and over again.
Yeah, I did figure out the Fire Fairy too.
Oh, okay.
So that was a little helpful. But yeah, because that was like a 20 magic difference on whatever
Yeah.
magic I was.
But other than that, I mean, it was pretty clean play from both sides. Again, Dr. J taking the gamble going into P5 and finding that raft and that being the big play. If that was not the raft, that would have been something that definitely hurt you. You know, who knows what other palace it could have been in. It might have, at that point, having seen the eastern connector via the cave in Death Mountain, you know, at that point, the raft didn't even have to be in any of those palaces. It could have simply been on the east at that point and kind of a useless connector. But it was there, and that was kind of a plot twist for the whole seed, and then that really kept you in the race, and it put you closer to Death Valley, and you went into Death Valley first. Again, not to repeat myself, but it was, from our perspective, a really great race. Yeah, I think this one is worth watching back for anyone.
Yeah, I'm certainly glad to hear that. Yeah, I mean, I almost dug P3 or P6 myself just to look for the raft myself. So I decided to go for Death Mountain instead. But I mean, I almost went for the raft myself in P3 and P6.
Yeah, 5 was the only one I really tried digging for items because I'd already beaten 3 for the crystal. So at that point, it's just like, well, let's see if there's something here because I'm not finding it in any of the open spots.
But other than that, GG to both of you. Elendar, any last thoughts here?
Nope. Good luck in your next rounds.
Thanks.
Thank you too for commentating and restreaming and tracking, and GG Dr. J, a great job today.
Yeah, GG.
Alrighty. Let's go ahead and ramp things up to make sure to give up a safe flow. Thank you to Owner. Again, doing the commentary. Thank you to BT Slacker for tracking. Let's see. Next Rando races. There's one at noon Eastern tomorrow between Victor Santa Fe and Sinus, and then one between the TAH and Mirai at 9 p.m. Eastern.
Exciting.
Yeah.
Good luck against TH.
Thanks.
We also have, there's
All
also an ALT, there's also an ALT TPR All Dungeons Key Sanity race at 8 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. So yeah, thank you all for watching, and we'll see you next time.